Deck the malls with blood and glory. Fa la 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 la. Ha 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 ha. What's up, DBI? Welcome to this roleplay review. I'm Riz, and I had to do it for the one time. If you're worried about the shades, man, don't ask about the shades. We're going to do a roleplay review for Deck the Malls today. As we have the actors in this one, it's Zofu and Cornell. And the arc is the Lord of Blackley. Or, no, the arc is Yuletide 2? That's what this one. And the synopsis is that the Lord of Blackley and the legendary Howler face off in a holiday-themed fight to the bitter end. And guys, I really wish I could tell you more. I really wish that we can go into this log with me having a ton of things to say about it. But I don't. Because it's a fight. And it's not that it's a bad fight. It's a fight. I won't say it's just a fight, because it's a very good fight. It's a very fun, very chaotic, very on point and on character, on page for these two. But yeah, it's combat, right? But there are some things I do want to say about this log. And first off, it happens in Pepper City, so it kind of implies that the new sheriff in town, Saliath, you gotta clean up this mess. Your third of an executive chair just destroyed public property, and whoever owns this mall is probably gonna come sue. Right? Like, I say that to where this fight happens inside of a mall. And, I don't know how well known Zofu is on Earth. I do know that he is a part of Crimson Industries, and, Crimson Industries is kind of like helping rebuild Pepper City. Pepper City is like the new hot spot right now. It's the new Vitae City. It's the new Hero City, which I kind of like that it's getting its time to shine. But yeah, I think at some point, because of all this chaos, like, Saliath needs to kind of, well, I don't know if he needs to. This is just a way for these two kind of stories to converge. But back to the fight itself. I'm going to try to kind of walk you guys through it, because this comes off of Steam Rising, which there was something that I forgot to mention in my review for Steam Rising was it was aptly named, because not only was Zofu in the bathhouse and Steam was rising off that. Steam happens to be like Cornell's thing, right? Much like Majin Buu, he releases steam as he's either powering up or shifting gears, or however you want to say it. So I thought that was pretty funny. But following that kind of interaction, they go into the real fight. And it's a lot of Cornell using like his giant size and Herculean, of course, strength to kind of physically overpower Zofu, right? And I do have in my notes, which are nowhere to be found, that as this fight kind of starts, there's this really cool part where, at least in my head, right, Zofu is kind of like in his, his business suit, and he kind of has like a Marvel moment transformation where he suits up, and he kind of, his clothes, again, in my mind, kind of burn away and then form new clothes, kind of like, Piccolo and his clothes beam, but just more flashy. And he gets into his fighting gi. And I was really, because he says, like, eat your heart out, Nova. And it's like, damn, why am I catching strays? But then he finally, and I say finally because I don't know if he's ever done this on page, but Zofu takes a actual bear stance. And for him, like, that's a pretty big moment, I think, that has never happened, because Zofu's whole thing was, I'm the ugly duckling of Ogun's Ark, and I'm not the martial artist that my family is. I'm the wizard, I'm the sorcerer. And for him to kind of like finally take that stance and to I guess kind of admit that, yeah, he is a part of this, right? I feel like that, at least for me, was very big. Like, I remember reading that, and there's a reason, like, it's in blue on the page. Like, it stood out. It definitely did. I'm like, this is kind of a big moment. Uh, but they continue kind of to have this fight. They go into this mall, and there's a moment where, like, Cornell is always kind of like getting like broken and beat up. Like, his body is. I showed an image in Discord a couple days ago about like what I thought his body was, kind of like a grafted from Elden Ring, where he can just, grab stuff, put it on himself, and he's kind of doing this throughout the whole fight. And he goes to like slash, yeah, because he has like a bunch of knives and stuff in him, and he becomes the Howler, as it's said in here, where he's like, from the way that I saw it, because I don't think Cornell like speaks, right? He may have like a voice box or something, but he was releasing this steam out, and from just the way that I saw it, he was like releasing it from his mouth, and then like his head stood still, and almost like the Tasmanian devil, like he started like spitting and slashing, and the like so much steam came out, kind of like a steam engine. It did like it's that was awful, I'm sorry. And it sounds like a howl, and then so Zofu takes that and it's like, yeah, like the Howler, this real life kind of urban legend monster. I'm fighting that. And Zofu then like rolls himself up in a walk and like kind of deflects the metal and blades, but he's starting to get cut up. And yeah, it's just chaos, right? And what's fun about it is that it's Yuletide, and I honestly feel like just the spirit of Christmas lends itself well to chaos and anarchy and disorder, because it's like this almost, in real life, it's this almost holy holiday. I mean, it is for a lot of people, and we treat it with such respect, and it's supposed to be all like coming together and family. But I want you guys to like pause and think for a minute. What's your favorite Christmas movie, right? What's its theme? Few of them are like, yeah, it's all about family and coming together and overcoming things together. And almost all of the greats are all about like chaos and disorder and things not going right and just the craziest things that you can think of, right? Like you got Home Alone, which is just a Christmas classic. You have like the Christmas Vacation, right? And then you have like the best Christmas movie of all time, Die Hard, which is all about explosions and everything in a similar setting. It's the Nakatomi building rather than a mall, but like Christmas just lends itself so well to like mayhem, right? Because that's kind of what really it's become now, of trying to like go visit this person, go get this person, get this gift, get that. So when this log has a theme of Christmas, it's hilarious. Like towards the end, there is this part where, here it is. It's really getting like to the nitty gritty. So as a callback to last year's Yuletide, Zofu calls out Nuke and Napalm, the Hell Rains reindeer that he got from Styx, as a birthday present, or as a Christmas present. And excuse me, he he has these two basically hellfire reindeer that are now like, one was flying like through the air, and the other one like broke off and got into like a clothing store and is just trampling around in there. But he's like ho ho hoing his burning ass like through them all. And then, not to be outdone, Cornell then like gets fucked up by the reindeer. He gets smashed and his body's all broken, so he needs to kind of regenerate. And he doesn't just regenerate, he basically like makes himself now into this sleigh with like I mean, they're in a mall, so I think he went through a Dick's or something like that, and he has like like again, I may have just made this shit up, but it looked cool in my head. But he has like a hockey stick and like a javelin and a pole vault and right like a football helmet, all kind of like stabbing out of this broken sleigh, and he's got somewhere on him the radio that's like talking to the C Mall shoppers. Attention, C Mall shoppers. Don't forget, this week is our annual meet and greet at the photo op with the big man himself. And then like it gets all distorted because it's getting added to its body, and it's like, come celebrate this year radio loss with us. And it's just awful. It's just terrified. And even Zofu is like, that is haunting. Like, I am a demon, and that is a nightmare I could never even arrange on the epitome of nightmares. Like this, I was born where nightmares come from, and that's worse than anything I've ever seen. So I feel like as an admin, we need to come together and pretty much just say, like, do we ever let Nigmas do what he wants? Because he will just come up with the most haunting thing that you have ever seen. And it's a fun log. Like, stuff like this is going on. I want to say it's Zofu's win at the end. If I had to declare a winner, I would say Zofu won, but he does then get caught by the authorities, which shout out to the actual police for showing up and finally putting these crazed metahumans where they belong, behind bars, because damn it, they need a win, right? If we're gonna have a police force, it needs to be useful, damn it. But yeah, I think I've rambled on about a good bit about this log. It was a lot of fun. You guys did great. Top marks all around. And speaking of fun, I did highlight this because I feel like Lux was having just a great time at the end of this log. And I want to read just one post that they did. Now, this is a post from Zofu themselves, so it's Lux writing this, but it's after they kind of Nuke and Napalm kind of crashed into Cornell, and they're this just, Looney Tuning across the mall. This is what Lux had to say from Zofu's perspective. They smashed through the mall, rode through the walls and displays. Neither the Hellrain nor Cornell could be bothered to do much more than weave in and out of the way of the few massive pillars that held the very ceiling above their heads intact. Flames were beginning to lick the walls while water pooled in their feet. They tore up and down the escalators, Cornell's rubber wheels bumping and rigging as awkwardly as Napalm's hooves, and then the both of them sprinting as they made a new track. It was exciting, exhilarating even, but the heightened sense of danger was always there, and they were and when they finally reached the longest stretch at the bottom of the track and Cornell began to peel ahead, some instinct or intuition, not just his ability to sense, told Zofu the time was coming. He pulled on Napalm's maim of fire and leapt off even before Cornell made his spin to face him, his hand moving to push her right where he left. As he reached the wall of the alley, he continued to run, his footpads having come fast and furious to keep the same speed he had left with from his mount. His only goal being to steer the missile shot of rock, that's what he calls Cornell, coming towards him away from his loyal companion. If he died, that was just the unfortunate way Zantatsu ended, but he wouldn't let that noble creature suffer on his behalf. Whew. Now there's a lot more to that, but do you hear like how in the first part, just how fucking happy they were doing this, and it was a fight worth remembering. If there were a competition right now, it's fight of the month for sure. It may even be up there for fight of the year. Like, I think this one surpasses Genesis Nova by a lot, and I honestly don't remember if there were much other PvP fights that happened this year, but this may be fight of the year. So again, Good job, you guys. I hope you had fun. It seems like it was fun. Jamie also did a review for this, and we're going to try to read through it really quick. So this is Jamie's words. This is my attempt at a review for Deck the Malls. What can I say? Nothing quite like reading a good fight. This is a continuation, from Steam Rising, and Kerwin's story is Sea Ruckus on Earth. And Zofu and Cornell both put on a master class in describing in excruciating detail the damage they both and the environment receive. Anyway, let's go through it. They kind of just talk about that. Then at the bottom, it goes through, it was then that things got silly, and to be honest with you, balls out intense, landing on a crate full of plushies. I did forget that. Zofu calls him back up, Nuke and Napalm. Or as I call them, fitting the theme of Rendomas, Satan's little helper, and they break Cornell's legs. More yep, and like I say, so the bottom of this is I'd like to end the review saying one thing. I've seen from both Zofu, Ike, and Cornell Nigmas here, and something I would reward, had I grading rights. You can see it in the writing, how they each give each other openings in their writing to punish the other. And that's very well done, and it's polite in role-playing. Far too often in my own collaborative fan fiction or something plain fiction writing or RP, I've seen too many godmodders or people who didn't care to give the other person they were working with a chance to shine. And yeah, that last part I absolutely agree with. I think these are the two most giving people when it comes to make yourself look good at my character's expense. Because I've said this a billion times. The better your character takes damage, and the better the other person will be willing to take damage, the better the fight looks. And it doesn't seem like it's one-sided. Like, I didn't know who was going to win this, and while I say Zofu won, did he really? Kind of. You know, like, he had a critical hit, which he says that he throws a javelin, and then who says that it was a critical hit and the fight was over? Cornell said that, right? So Cornell said, yep, and then I lost. So great job, guys. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys at the next review.